And we're live.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in on To The Point with
Skip
and the King. You guys know where to find us by now. Today we have a special treat for you. We have the one and only Jas Grewal. You guys can find him anywhere online, even though, bro, there's a lot of people with that same name. But he is an amazing basketball writer. I've read his articles and I can vouch for. Right now, he is a content editor for the Toronto Star. Multiple sources. He's always out there. A great mind to have when we are speaking about this. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you on the show, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure of mine to be on the show. The enthusiasm and the knowledge that sort of spread with this group it's palpable. So I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. So there's a reason why we have you on today. There is a reason.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen you guys online. I've seen everybody out there on Facebook and the other social media platforms discussing and contemplating and getting at each other. I kind of enjoy it. Sometimes I sit here, eat my popcorn. But there is a potential trade out there for the one and only Spicy P. Now, Jas, can I ask you, what is this potential trade for Spicy P to go to the Golden State Warriors?
Yeah, so the one that John Hollinger reported on The Athletic was James Wiseman, the 7th pick, and Andrew Wiggins for Pascal Siakam. It's clear that the Golden State Warriors are in a win-now mode. Clay, even though he tore his Achilles in November, he's not far out from getting back on the court. He's still rehab, and I think Steve Kerr said in April that he's getting ready to run. So I can only imagine he's much further ahead in that progress. So yeah, I think this is a great move for the Warriors. Don't think it's a great move for the Toronto Raptors. I think there are a lot of fans who are sort of split on it. A lot of Siakam apologists, a lot of Siakam haters, for lack of another word. So I'm not against trading Pascal Siakam. I just want to make that clear. I just don't think that this trade mirrors his value in any way. And Wiseman's still a rookie, had a tough year in Golden State. I think he's going to be a great player. But if you make this trade, if you're the Toronto Raptors, you make this trade, you completely change the trajectory of where you want your franchise to go. And obviously Kyle Lowry is a big domino there. But I'm not a big fan of it. But again, I think Masai's always looking around his BlackBerry and fielding offers, and so he's active, and I'm sure he's been keeping an eye out. I just don't think that this piques his interest. I could be wrong though.
Okay, Skip. Now I gotta ask you, based on what Jas just said, how do you, as a Raptors fan, I see you wearing that shirt over there.
always.
How do you, as a Raptors fan? Yeah, I know you love the Lowry. Same way my mom loves the Van Vliet. How do you feel about this potential trade that's been fielded out there?
Well, I agree with Jas's main point, which is just that it doesn't really fit the Raptors window. They've very clearly signed Van Vliet, Anunoby, and Siakam to this 3-year window. Next year, the year after, and then 23-24, I think it is. They're all expiring after that year. And so I think the idea is to supplement that core and develop this team internally with the pieces they already have. I don't necessarily think they want to take a step back and get younger, because if you think about it, that trade, what that does is it brings Wiggins' contract onto the books for 2 of those 3 years, which limits their ability to go out and get other pieces to supplement that core. And then you're getting younger players who might develop, like in the pick, in Siakam and Wiseman, and in the two draft picks, number 4 and number 7. That said, there is an argument to be made that this is the better long-term route, because you can sort of see it where okay, we'll take a step back this year. We'll develop these guys. We'll have 1 year of Wiggins. He can fit in as that, just a substitute at the 3 spot for a little while. And then there will be that 1 year where, in theory, all of these guys are cresting. 2 years down the road, Wiggins' contract will be expiring, and OG and Van Vliet will still be on the books. So you do have that 1 year window there where you could go out and you could get a free agent to supplement a really strong core. And then you would be able to sort of add Van Vliet and Anunoby's contract extensions onto the end of that. So I think there is an argument to be made that they could make the windows work if they really like the package. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, is Wiseman worth it? And I don't know. What do you think, Jas?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to sort of it's tough to not monetize, but figure out Wiseman's value. He played half the season.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, Jas, is about when it comes down monetarily, when it comes down to the cap.
Yeah.
Can this work?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd have to get Wiggins, James Wiseman, and the 4th pick in there for the salaries to match. I'm assuming you're talking about Pascal, the trade.
The 7th pick.
Or the 7th pick. Pardon me. The 4th pick is
or 14th or
whatever. Yeah. The numbers work out. And even though Wiggins had a great year, capped it off with a Canada basketball, even though they lost, I just don't think it moves the needle much for the Raptors. And I also think that you're still sort of on that high of the 2019 NBA championship. You have the attention of all these new fans, new generation of Raptors fans who are sort of enthralled by that 2019 run. And so to sort of like go back and just, I'm not against going younger. I think that's always the way to go. But there's been situations where, like the Sacramento Kings, you're just sort of digging a deeper hole. You're getting younger, don't get me wrong, but where's the result? And I think that's something that you got to consider as well. I think the optics of the trade, everyone was down on Siakam after last year, but I mean, his numbers are identical to that 2019 season. So it's tough to hate on the guy. Obviously, he has his flaws, don't get me wrong. I think everybody can sort of recognize that, especially after last season, especially the 3-point shooting. But, once he has that surgery on his non-shooting hand or arm, shoulder, I think he'll be fine. I honestly think he's going to have a bounce back year. His numbers will be better. And yeah, I personally think this year he's really going to boost his value. So why not hold on for a little bit more?
Yeah. So I think, just jumping off what I was saying before, I think the thing is, if you say Siakam is a second option, like he's a number 2 option, which is what he was during the championship year, the question to me then is, if you're making that trade, are you getting a second option back? And I don't really see that. I mean, I'm not considering Wiggins. I'm talking Wiseman. I'm talking the draft pick. Are either of those players going to develop into a player that's as good as Siakam one day or better? And I don't think you can bank on that. And that's why I would lean against doing the trade.
No! Pascal Siakam should not go anywhere. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? Skip, we've seen this through the championship run where Pascal is a great number 2, which you just touched on. He should not go anywhere. There is no point in that. The Raptors are building a young core. Look, you got Fred, you got OG, you got Boucher, you got Malachi, you got Watanabe, you got all these guys that are just coming up there. And the Raptors are still within the midst of being a possible contender from the East. So I say hell to the no for that one. Okay? But, Skip, since you know so much, I gotta ask you, what's your possible trade for Siakam if he does leave?
Okay, so first of all, I want to come out right off the top and say that I don't really think there's a reason for the Raptors to trade Siakam. I don't think they should do it for basketball reasons. I think if they're going to look into Siakam trades, that probably means there's a little more going on behind the scenes than we know, and there's actually a reason why all these rumors are leaking and that the Raptors are really looking into changing up their roster. But I was just flipping through ESPN trade rumors, and I came up with a bit of an interesting possibility. I don't know how people would think about this. I don't know if either team would do it. But what if the Raptors were to offer Pascal Siakam and Malachi Flynn to the Pacers for Myles Turner and Caris LeVert? Now, those are two players who are very similar in the age range to Siakam. I think they're both about 25, 26, whereas Siakam's 27. They both have 2 years on their contract after this year. They're both really interesting high-end pieces that you can slot into a playoff team. I don't know if the Pacers would consider Pascal an upgrade over those guys, but it would sort of make their front court a little bit more logical with Siakam to slot in beside Sabonis. So I wonder if that's a trade that could be in the works somewhere. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Jazz?
Yeah, that's interesting. The numbers obviously match, but I'm a big Caris LeVert guy. Obviously, what happened with that injury was awful. But I think in Indiana, he's going to flourish just like he was doing in Brooklyn before, KD and Kyrie.
Definitely great on Brooklyn. Loved it.
Yeah. And I'm really high in Myles Turner as well, especially now that he's able to sort of stretch the floor. He's always been an elite shot blocker, young guy as well. I personally don't see the talent comparison. I think Siakam is like head and shoulders more talented than both of them. Caris, don't get me wrong, he's a super talent, but Siakam's improved his playmaking. He's proved that he can be a second option. I don't think either Turner nor LeVert are second options on a title contending team. Siakam, I mean, he dropped 32 against the Warriors in game 1 of the finals, just to sort of show you what he can do on the biggest stage. And as much as I love Caris, I wouldn't pull the trigger, but it is really interesting. It's a nice little wrinkle, and I never really consider the Pacers as a destination to trade. Personally, Domantas Sabonis would be my number one guy. But
if you were playing 2K, you wouldn't pull the trigger?
I would not, no.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree. I think the Pacers are getting the best player in that trade, and that's always a little bit dangerous. I think it is sort of a trade that doesn't necessarily give you a title window so much as it gives you a playoff window. So that's what I'd be concerned. It would be like sort of spinning your wheels. But if there is some talk that Siakam's out the door, that they really are looking into Siakam trades, I think that'd be a really interesting return. And you're not necessarily getting older, you're not necessarily getting younger, you're just kind of building with the roster that you currently have. So I think it could be an interesting possibility. I don't know if either team would consider it. I don't know if the Raptors would consider it, but just wanted to throw that one.
I got to ask you guys this. Pascal Siakam, during that championship run, he was evidently the number 2 for your Toronto Raptors to win the championship. Now, who would be the number 1 if you were to go there, Skip? Like, do you guys really think that he can be the number 1 on a championship team?
On Indiana, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I think that's the problem with that trade, is that both teams just sort of end up with a lot of number 2, number 3s. And they just sort of end up this 5-6 seed that's always going to be falling short in the playoffs. So that's the risk of that trade. I just think it's a really interesting option if you're convinced that Siakam has to move somewhere. Like I said, I would keep Siakam. I wouldn't trade him at all. I don't really see a lot of trades out there that really make the Raptors better. So my preference would just be not to move him at all. I don't know. Do you have any trades, Brian?
Jazz, do you have an idea about that? Do you think the Toronto Raptors should keep Pascal Siakam? Because like I said before, look at what the Raptors have done. They built up OG, Van Fleet, Boucher, Siakam. Look at what they've done. They haven't had any time. Shout out to Robert Mishovic. They haven't had any big time free agents to come here, except for that big trade with DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard, and we all know how that played out.
I mean, I thought Turkoglu was a great signing. I don't think we talked enough about that one. No, but in all seriousness, like Skip said, I just feel like you're sort of shifting holes at that point. I'm not sure where it puts you on the spectrum of eventually getting to the title. Personally, I think Siakam with Sabonis and like Malcolm Brogdon on the Indiana Pacers would be such an interesting sort of like coalition of players and talents, right? And another thing I wanted to sort of harken back to with the Warriors, James Wiseman, it seems like they're really, really shopping him publicly. So that sort of like depletes his value as well. If the entire league knows that, then they're going to play a little bit hard to get as well. And even then, I agree with Skip. There's not many options on the table right now. I mean, Siakam is going to be making what 30+ million this year, and it gets in his third year. I believe it reaches 37 or his fourth year. So it's going to be a lot of money, but in terms of talent, man, if there's nothing else available there that's going to really upgrade your roster or broaden your ceiling, then there's no point of trading just to trade. And I think Masai understands that. Masai's been a killer trade machine. He's a catalyst who hasn't really lost many trades, I would think. People can criticize his free agency, signing Kenneth Faried in Denver, all that stuff. But in terms of just his trading, he's been pretty good. I mean, we won a championship out of it, so it's hard to criticize that side of it. But I agree with Skip. I'd rather hold on to Siakam and sort of see how the year plays out. Go with his young core, draft the 4th pick, and who knows? Maybe we might get Jalen Green, who I'm really high on. So we'll see.
Oh, he's going to Houston.
Yeah, no, I know. It's nice to dream.
Okay. So I guess we are all agreed that it's a no-go on trading Pascal.
Yeah, no, don't trade Pascal right now. Someone has to blow the Raptors away.
Yeah, did I say we again, Skip? Oh my
boy.
Goodness.
Oh, media, Lord. No.
Oh, yeah. No, I said we. Jas, I ain't no Raptors fan. We all know this. But I highly doubt they should trade Siakam. I think what they should do is trade for a closer or possibly a big if you're going to keep Kyle Lowry, because Lowry could be your closer. Van Vliet, my mom's favorite player, could be your closer. It can happen. So more importantly, what we got to say, guys, is what you guys got to say. So you guys let us know what you think out there. Go click subscribe, go click like, do what you do on social media. Let us know what you think. Keep giving us a buzz. We can always bring Jas on. Jas, it's been such a pleasure to have you on here today and to pick your brain. It's been absolutely amazing. Skip, I love seeing your beautiful face as usual, and that jersey. Let me see it.
There you go.
The engine that's keeping the Raptors going. We will see you guys very soon. Let us know what you think. On behalf of myself, Skip, and Jas, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
peace.
He's good.